Hello everyone, my name is MCU Sumo. For my first video on this channel, I wanted to discuss my predicted characters to enter Marvel Rivals in the year 2026. So as of right now, we already have 2 characters for the year. We get 1 character every month, so 12 characters for a year. So I prepared 10 characters I think are coming up next. Before I get to the speculation, I want to lay down some groundwork, some very basic Marvel Rivals lore groundwork, just so you can understand where I'm coming from. The main thing that you need to know is that Marvel Rivals primarily exists in 4 timelines. One timeline where there's the Heaven-Hell War, where most of the magic stuff happens. That's where Kunlun is, and that's where Scarlet Witch is the Sorceress Supreme. That's where the season with Daredevil and Angela occur. Then we also have the pretty generic timeline where New York is. That's where season 1 is, where the Kingdom of Eternal Night happened. That timeline is practically the comic timeline. The only difference is Captain America's dead. But I imagine that any comic book arc is probably going to occur in that timeline. The third timeline we have is the 2099 timeline, which has your general future shenanigans. Also, in the context of Marvel Rivals lore, Krakoa got sent from the base timeline to the 2099 timeline. So most of the mutant stuff is occurring there. Granted, a lot of the mutants are missing. And the last timeline we have is the Intergalactic Empire of Wakanda timeline, the space timeline. That's where pretty much all the cosmic galactic stuff happens. That's where the Guardians of the Galaxy are. That's where the Null season was. That's where the Elders of the Universe are. So the past 2 seasons, we got Night at the Museum and Love is a Battlefield, both occurred there. Now, with that said, even though we kind of know where all the characters are from and where they usually reside, any character can show up. Things get mixed up all the time. Angela is actually from the main generic timeline, but she ended up in the Hell Wars timeline because of shenanigans. So just because they are probably from a timeline doesn't mean that they will stay in the timeline. Anyway, let's get to the speculation. The first 2 are a lob, and I kind of just want to get them out the way. Currently, while filming this video, we're about to enter season 6.5. So season 7 isn't that far away. So we have a lot of speculation and gallery cards. And the gallery cards tend to hint that Black Cat and White Fox are going to be introduced in season 7. And this idea is built on the fact that like Kingpin has billboards in Times Square with a Black Cat bounty, and also saying that like he's in charge. At the final gallery card of the season, it says that Deadpool's on Long Island, I believe, and Manhattan is closed and shut down, and he's trying to find a way to sneak in. So that kind of sets up the idea that we're going back to New York. Black Cat being a Spider-Man villain, you know, commonly in New York, and Spider-Man is from that timeline in Marvel Rivals. And the gallery card itself has Deadpool chilling with a bunch of monsters that he rescued, and one of which is just a regular Black Cat and a White Fox. And White Fox was already teased via an accessory for Luna Snow. So those 2 are kind of widely accepted to be up next. So that's my easy lob. Next, I'm going to go down my list of 10 characters that I think I'm confident will show up. And most of them have been leaked. So first, I'm going to say at some point, we're going to get Captain Marvel. Because I think the Avengers are missing a lot of roster real estate. We have a lot of X-Men right now. And there are voice lines for a couple characters that specifically refer to Carol Danvers, Captain Marvel, with her binary powers and whatnot. So they're definitely working on her. I think if she were to show up, it would probably be in like the generic comic timeline, which is also where Hydra is doing their stuff to summon the Hive, which also brings me to my next character. I think this year they're going to double back and try to elaborate on a lot of the plot threads that they set up last year, one of which being Hydra. We have 1 map for Hydra, and Bucky got his tentacle arms from Hydra's experimentation. And I believe that the character that's going to be paired up with Carol Danvers is going to be the Hive. They opened a portal to a planet like on the other side of the galaxy. Carol Danvers is a notoriously cosmic superhero, so I believe it'll just make sense for those 2 to go head to head. Okay, and this year I believe we'll see some more action from Mephisto and some more action in the Hell Wars, and I think characters that will show up in that context will be Ghost Rider. He's heavily tied to Mephisto. Mephisto's been getting a lot of setup. He was mentioned by the Grand Master. I'm pretty sure the Grandmaster got the playing cards that he gave to Gambit that switched up his powers, gave him a bit of a buff. And Grandmaster hired Gambit to steal a contract from the Collector, another Elder of the Universe. That contract was a contract Mephisto made for Doom's mother's soul. He traded a pretty legendary seeming artifact. I'm going to link to a video I watched that could probably explain it better than me. He's been getting a lot of build up, so I'm sure they'll pay it off. Ghost Rider is often tied to Mephisto. He's usually the devil that Johnny Blaze made the deal with to get the Spirit of Vengeance. I think Nightcrawler will show up in this context because Nightcrawler is a very Catholic character. He gets some spiritual abilities like the Soul Sword and the Hope Sword. He's also a half demon, so I think it makes sense for him to show up in this situation. The Hood is a character that stole a bunch of magic artifacts and starts like a gang or mob where he just does crime for profit. I think we'll probably see him in the Hell Wars because tons of magic artifacts to go around, tons of stuff to steal, get powerful, whatnot. I'm also pretty sure we're gonna see Cyclops. Cyclops has been getting a lot of exposure. I mean, we even see visuals in some of the promos. He gets mentioned in a lot of gallery cards and lore information. And he's been getting teased for a long time. He's been getting teased since the Phoenix lore information. Now, I think we're going to get some more mutants. It's inevitable. Mutants are the vast majority of superpowered individuals. I really think we're going to get Forge as another kind of gizmo type strategist, kind of like Rocket. This is kind of out there. There's literally no setup for this. I just feel it in my bones. I also believe whenever we get back to 2099 in the future, we're gonna get like a future MODOK. I know that sounds crazy. No one's checking for MODOK. I have no setup for this. I just believe in MODOK. So that's it. We're gonna see how right I am. This is just my quick, list them off real fast with no reasoning. Captain Marvel, Black Cat, White Fox, The Hive, Ghost Rider, The Hood, Nightcrawler, Cyclops, Forge, and MODOK. I'm also gonna throw in some bonus guesses just in case, okay? Professor X, Ant-Man, Hitmonkey, Colossus, and Wasp. That's it. If you want to see my reaction to me being proven right or wrong, follow this channel. I'll definitely be talking about this heavily for the rest of the year, at least once a month, because that's when the characters come out. Later.